What's going on, everybody? Hope you are having a wonderful week so far. So it's podcast time, and this is a podcast that I've been waiting to do pretty much since day one. Since day one of me starting the podcast. Sam Devine. I've known Sam since I was 13 years old. I used to buy my records from her at a record shop called Spin Central. You're probably going to hear more about that in the podcast, or you definitely are. I've seen Sam grow from a local DJ to one of the biggest female DJs in the world. And we've stayed in touch literally since day one. It's just been so amazing to see her get to where she's at. And also, she's always kind of been there for me, just generally as a human being and as a friend in the industry. I love her absolutely to bits. And I love what she's doing. I love who she is. I love how she DJs. She's one of the best DJs out there. She's just the best. So, without further ado, Sam Devine. Sam Devine, what's cooking?
What is good in the hood? Where in the world are you?
I'm in sunny Somerset.
Yay!
Where are you?
I'm in London town.
Oh, yes. Mate, thanks for coming on. I've been waiting to do this for so long.
Oh my God, haven't we?
Like, when I started it, when I started the podcast 2 years ago, I wanted to get you on, but I wanted to wait till like the podcast was a bit more of something. We've got like I think I was thinking about this in the car. I was driving to Bristol today, and I was you are the person I've known the longest in the industry that's still in the industry.
Yeah, for real.
Which is mental, really.
I know. I was literally thinking last night, I was like, oh my God, like, I just want to start off saying that I am literally your biggest fan. Like, I remember you coming in my record shop and you were like, was it 13?
Yeah.
13 with your mum and dad, and then you were so tiny. You were so tiny. And obviously now you've got like the best beard in the galaxy. But I remember you coming into Hush, and obviously like you were way too young to play, like 13, giving you your first set in Ibiza with your mum and your dad just like dancing in the corner, and just then like moving to the States and smashing it. And I just feel so honoured and proud to call you my friend and to watch your journey as well. Has been amazing.
Nah, I love you for that, because I feel the same. I remember meeting you for the first time at Spin Central, the record shop.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And then playing for you, I can't remember what it was called. It was in Weston.
Do you know what? My mum found the flyer out the other day, and it was called, so we did the Saturday night, but we also did Sundays Are Divine.
That was it. It was a Sunday.
Upstairs, yeah, upstairs. We played like R&B, garage, and a house, and there was probably only about 20 people to start off with for the first 6 months. Yeah, anyway.
And then I remember when you asked me to play in Hush, and I was 16 then, and I've seen you from selling records and hustling at selling records. Like, you were like the one person around the Southwest that kind of only liked house music at that time. Like you were like the go-to at Spin Central, and then you moved to Hard to Find, right? Is it Hard to Find?
Hard to Find, yeah. Oh no, it was wasn't Hard to Find.
What was it called?
It was the one in Bristol. Oh my God, my memory.
I swear it was Hard to...
No, Hard to Find was in Birmingham. I used to buy from Hard to Find. I was talking about this the other day.
Oh my God, what was it?
Because I was headhunted from Spin Central, and literally gave me like unlimited amounts of money to buy records. So I was like buying thousands of units every week, like boxes of vinyl. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I'm
trying to find it now.
Oh my God, that is literally on the tip of my tongue as well. How annoying. It was in...
It was on Feeder Road, wasn't it? I remember where it was.
Yes, it was, yeah, it was. Because I used to go to Bang Bang in Bristol.
Shop, Feeder Road, Bristol. Surely that's going to...
That's just come up rough trade.
Chemical Records.
Chemical Records. How did I bloody forget that? Chemical Records.
Chemical, yeah. And then I've seen you kind of go into the Defected, become more of a DJ, and now literally a household name pretty much in every city in the world. And I've seen your personal life change and just everything. You've seen you get married and
divorced.
And what?
Divorced.
What? I didn't even know about this.
And divorced. Yeah, it's all finalized in 2 weeks.
I did not know this.
Which is really funny, Will, because I've obviously been filming my documentary for 6 years. So they've literally been and you're actually in it. We go back to Spin Central and Western Supermare, right? And the actual title of the documentary is called Married to the Music. And it literally couldn't be more any of the truth. I literally am. I'm like, will I ever find my forever guy? I'm literally married to the music. But no, it's all good. Like, it's amicable. We're still friends. It's just one of them things.
Oh, mate, I'm sorry about that. I didn't know that.
Dirty, but no, it's all good. It's all blessed. You know, it's life lessons. And yeah, that was quite a lot to deal with, coming out of lockdown and going straight back into festival season. But I really felt like, I mean, I cried my way through last summer, you know, like every record that I was playing I felt so attached and so emotional. And it was actually super, super healing going through that and going through obviously quite a big breakup and coming out the other end. And I'm literally in the best place I've ever been in. I feel like great and really, really, really focused on my time ahead and putting, you know, that hurt and that pain into music and just getting lost in that was actually super, super healing for me.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because like over the years, we've both had relationships if you know what I mean. And how do you find, because we're touring so much and I like, I'm sure you know people, and I know people that are in really strong relationships and they still tour and they have kids and they do all of that. How have you found it over the years? Because you moved to Ibiza, you left Somerset, you've kind of done all of that and you've traveled the world. Like, how do you find that?
I mean, you know, relationships have to be based on trust, whether you're a DJ or not in any industry. And I was really, really lucky with my ex-husband, where obviously he was a DJ as well. So we had that mutual trust. And that's the thing that gets you through every relationship, when you don't have that trust, because yes, you know, it's a very, very male dominated industry and I'm predominantly around guys all the time, but I'm a very loyal person. And, I think if you haven't got trust and loyalty in relationship, it doesn't work. But I'm just so focused on what I'm doing. For the first time in my life, I'm not championing any other artists, bringing them through in the industry. You know, I'm going off and I've started my own new brand, Cloud9, aside from Defected. And I'm just really focused on me and putting all my time and effort into me for the first time. I just haven't got anyone around me and any distractions, you know. I'm 40 years old now and I've been in this game for 20 years. And I feel like all of that was like gaining my experience and all my knowledge, and I've made kind of, you know, not a lot of mistakes, but you know, made certain decisions which if I went back I would change. But now it's like I've got another 10 years minimum in front of me, and who knows if I have a family within those 10 years. It's not really at the forefront of my mind. I'm just super focused on making music, because really I've kind of made it without making music, you know. Now for me, I give so much love when I play other people's records. I want that feeling when I play my own records, you know, but I just haven't had the headspace to do that. So I've got some amazing engineers based in Toronto now, and we've got some amazing music that we're cooking up. And I'm just so excited to be able to play my own records in the clubs and in festivals. But yeah, going back to your question, you know, I get so much self-satisfaction. Like, my fans and my community give me so much love. And I've got an amazing team around me as well. So men for me are just a distraction, you know. It's like, I'm good.
Sometimes a good distraction, sometimes a bad distraction, right?
Yes, exactly. If someone comes along that's going to be super special, that could, because they're not just taking on me, right? They're taking on my whole girl gang, my family, my team, the industry, everything. And I'm just kind of not in that headspace that, you know, to bring someone into my life. If it comes along, great. But I'm literally married to the music right now.
I love that. And talking about your girl gang, I've known them since, I've known them all since day one at Hush.
Yeah.
And it's been super, because you don't often see this generally in record labels, music industry, just life. You don't generally see somebody that's been there from the beginning to current day.
Yeah.
Like, how have you done that?
Again, I think it's just really down to my friends and my family. Like, they keep me so grounded, and they're like my number one cheerleaders, and they're like super, super supportive that I can be myself. And, you know, in the past, I've missed, you know, really big celebrations in my family and friends, but I was so focused on work. And it was only when I got a life coach in lockdown, because I kind of lost it a little bit. I had like a mental breakdown. I was having really bad anxiety attacks. And I was like, you know, the same for everyone. I just hit a brick wall. And at first it was fun to have a month off. And then I'm like, oh my God, like, are we ever going to get back to it? So I got myself a life coach and just kind of went through, I had to work it all out in my head. And that was super, super healing itself. I did a mental health first aid course to help with my own mental health problems. I was literally ticking every box. I was like, oh my God, that's me, that's me, that's me. I am actually a lunatic, but it's okay. And I just think going through the journey and having that roller coaster where it's very, very high sometimes and very, very low sometimes, but having a really, really good team around you to be super, super supportive. And listen, I do everything with my heart on my sleeve. You know, I'm super, my journey's been very, very organic. I come from nothing, and I've built my way up, and I've not ever asked for any favors. I've never had to ask for a gig. I've been very lucky in that department. I just do everything with compassion and with empathy. And I'm really, really into my community. You know, I give so much back, and they give me so much pleasure as well. And I just think, you know, there hasn't really been any dips. It's just been on a decline the whole time. And I'm really proud now. I never saw it before COVID, but now I'm really proud of my journey. And to be able to still be doing this 20 years, and I've still got so many more years ahead of me. It's about having a happy, balanced life now. And having my life coach has really helped me to understand the work and personal life balance. I think that's super important. I'm doing a lot more self-care. I'm turning into a bit of a hippie. Like tomorrow I've got sound healing.
Fuck's sake, Sam, what happened?
I know, literally. Oh my God. I've gone from taking like loads of pills every weekend back in the day to like now like taking mushrooms on a Sunday. It's really funny, actually. We used to call Sundays at my house Super Sundays, and now they're called Spiritual Sundays. We do like
fucking hell,
and we like some sound healing, and we drink like sleepy teas. And instead of being like hanging on a Monday, I'm like ready to go on a Monday. You know, it's done a full circle. I think that's probably getting older as well. You know, I just haven't got it in me anymore.
I think it's also learning about yourself and who you actually are, because I think it's very easy as this industry goes is to get wrecked every weekend and kind of just go along with what everyone else is doing, and you forget that nobody else that you're getting wrecked with is actually working. This is your job.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
They all have a 9 to 5 to go back to the next day, or a lot of people do, and I think it can catch up on a lot of us. But it's super nice to hear you have gone through that during COVID, because it's something that I struggle with, is that whole, like, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the term work-life balance, because we don't have, our life is our work, if you know what I mean, realistically. But I think, are you at the point now where you're turning down gigs because you just don't want to, you're taking more time off?
No. I mean, I've just recently taken on management. I didn't have management for 4 years.
You're with Paul now?
Yeah, with Paul, big up, Paul. Mrs. Doubtfire, I like to call him. He's got as well. I absolutely adore the guys, and they've just got so much compassion for me, you know. And it's like when I first signed with them in December, that, you know, he blocked out 2 weekends, and I'm like, right, I'm going to go do a detox on that weekend, or I'm going to go and do a week in Ibiza, and you know, and do the whole kind of the island life of it. And I'm not going to Ibiza to party now, you know. I'm actually last summer I started driving to all my shows, and it was a game changer because I'm not drinking, I'm on top form. Like, I actually way prefer now DJing sober, and especially on this tour, like where I can. My rule is anything over 4 hours I'll get a train, anything under that I'll drive. And it's made such a difference in my life playing sober, and I just can't stress enough. Everyone should do it, you know, because it is just, and I know you're sober as well, right? I remember you always like with a can of Red Bull in your hand at like every single show. But it's just been a game changer for me, and it's really, really helped with my mental health, you know, and it just got to the point where I'm like, I've been doing this for 20 years. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Like, it takes me 3 or 4 days to get over a big bender now. And I'm just like, if I want to sustain this, like I keep saying, you know, for the next 10 years, I've got to start looking after myself. And my whole crew have been amazing. My team have been amazing. Like my advancing team, I have a sober rider and I have a crew rider. Crew rider I normally just bring home, but you know, my sober rider has like pressed juices on it and organic, you know, chocolate bars and sparkling water and cucumber. That's my vibe at the minute. And it's, I just feel great. I feel great for being sober. The first few shows I was like, oh my God, pass me the tequila. Like, I'm shaking, I'm nervous, but you know, I got through that. Now it's like, it's light work for me now.
So are you not drinking at all?
Not at my shows if I'm driving, no.
Cool. That's amazing.
Which is pretty much all of my shows, right? Unless I'm flying somewhere. But then I've always got an early flight the next day. Like on my US tours, if I'm away for like 4 weeks, I will let my hair down on the last gig, you know, and then I'll book a flight for like 2 days later or something. But I'm just really enjoying being sober. Really, really enjoying being sober.
Do you see the club and the shows in a different light? Like, Completely.
I mean, I see that everyone is really, really mash up. And
proper.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I've never noticed it before. I said to Paul, actually, I was like, "Am I just getting older, or is like people getting more and more like absolutely hammered, and they're getting younger?" And he's like, "No, it's the UK crowds.
The UK crowd is terrible for it.
Wild, absolutely wild."
Yeah, because I don't often play here. And then when I did a few shows last summer, I played like Mintfest. And of course, like Mintfest is like, it's
big
young.
Up Leeds.
Yeah.
Big up the Leeds crew.
It's epic, but they're young, if you know what I mean. And it was straight out of COVID. It was like the first festival after COVID. So like, you pretty much had a bunch of 16-year-olds that had just turned 18, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Never been to a festival or club before.
So they were like fucking Pac-Man, just eating pills left, right, and centre.
Zombies at the end of the night. I hate closing because they're just like sunglasses hanging off their faces. But hey, I'm here for it because that used to be me. That did used to be me. But you've definitely noticed those things a lot more. And I'm digging deeper for records. I'm being more experimental. I'm playing like liquid drum and bass in my sets. I'm playing garage. I'm playing hip hop, which, by the way, your Dead Prez oh my gosh. That is literally my secret weapon. Like, there's nowhere in the world where it doesn't work.
Really?
And I've literally started getting the whole crowd going, hip hop, hip hop.
I haven't played that for years. Like,
no, that is literally my secret weapon.
Somebody asked me for it the other day, and I was like, I don't have it. Like, I literally don't have it anywhere.
Give it to anyone else.
No. I was like, you're gonna have to find it online somewhere because it's not. It's not here.
Yeah, but I'm definitely experimenting more, and I probably wouldn't have done that if I wasn't sober, because I didn't really have. When you drink, you kind of have this false confidence, I guess. And the amount of times where I would either leave USBs or not even remember what my last record was, and that was happening way too often. So I actually did the 90 days sober for Sober October. In 2019, and I did Defected Closing. That was my first ever sober gig in Ibiza for the past 16 years. And I literally remember sitting in the corner and I had to barricade myself. All my friends kind of did like this semicircle around me because I couldn't talk to anyone. People coming up to me like, oh, spitting in my ear, in my ear. I was just like, everyone get away from me. It was horrendous. It was absolutely horrendous. But now I like do my star jumps. I'm going to start taking Sage because I'm like, protects me from
oh my God. Who have you turned into, Sam?
Look, I'm wearing tie-dye, like, I'm going in.
Sage is like super American. for me. Like it's like it's super American. So I hope nobody gets offended by this, but super American female. And every time I go into a house and I know they've been burning sage, I'm like, why? It smells like shit. It's fucking awful.
It smells like BO.
Yeah, it's awful.
I'm used to it now. I actually quite like it. But the first time I was like, oh, someone's like smelling funky in here. And they were like, no, I'm just saging. I'm like, my mum absolutely hates it. My mum's living with me at the moment, getting my house ready to sell. But she's like, what is that smell? I'm like, oh, mum, I'm just saging.
She's old school. That's why.
Yeah,
I
literally.
get it. I want to go back to the beginning of your career. I want to kind of go through step by step because you've had a proper fucking journey.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will be really interested because I think a lot of people are learning who you are in different territories and kind of they're like, oh, Sam Divine, but it's like they don't know what's happened or how hard you worked to get there.
Yeah.
So Ibiza, I feel like for me, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Ibiza was kind of the start of DJing for Sam Divine. Well, it wasn't even Sam Divine then, was it?
Yeah, Mr. Divine. Dollar Divine, actually.
Yeah. Can you remember Charlie's Angels?
Oh my God, yeah, with Vicky Divine.
Yeah, who
so much shit for having the same name as her.
Yeah, who was the other girl that did that with you guys?
It was not Lovely Laura. It was a girl called Laura, which is actually how it ended up with the residency at Hush.
Yeah,
because Laura and Vicky were kind of the only two, and Clara da Costa were the only kind of three prominent resident DJs. And Sarah Main as well, actually, Pasha resident.
Oh yeah, Sarah. Yeah.
Yeah, they were kind of like the only prominent female DJs on the island at that time. And obviously I had the residency at Charlie's Angels, and Laura and I used to play back to back on vinyl. We pretty much did the whole of the West End from top to bottom. Yeah. And she was actually resident at Hush, who actually got me into Hush to start with. And we were doing some back-to-backs, I think like every Tuesday. And it got to the end of the summer and she just broke up with her fella. So she like was coming in crying all the time. She was super emotional, as us women do on breakups. And literally Jimmy, the guy who was running the Hush at the time, was just like, she's too emotional, you've got the residency next year. So it's by absolute fluke, because she was a way better DJ than me. She was amazing. And then, I came back the next year and was resident at Hush and completely made it my own. You know, it was like the place to go, the workers bar. And it was amazing. Like I had a 5-year residency. It was so cool because I could book all my friends and we just had so much fun. Like there was no pretentious. It was just like, you know, sometimes I'd play 7-hour sets from 11 till 6 a.m. in the morning. You know, I'd be in there as soon as the bar opened. I'd be sat at the computer downloading all my promos and then playing them for the first time. For the first couple of years, it was vinyl, and then they got sponsored by Pioneer. So they took one of the decks away, and I was like, what am I going to do? So I was like burning loads and loads of CDs. And then the year after I went back, they took the vinyl decks away, and it was a sad moment. But then you could literally download shit on the fly and just play it, you know, or someone would ask you for a track and I'll be like, 2 seconds, I can download it and play it. But I learned so much from Hush because you couldn't pay to get in, right? So if people stood at the bar and you played a track that they didn't like, they would leave. Yeah. So it was a challenge for me every single night. I played 6 nights a week. It was a challenge for me to keep people in there. So you learn so much from that, doing warm up or closing and playing that peak time. And it went off every single night for like the 5 summers that I was there. And it was a really beautiful time in my career. You know, I met so many amazing people. I got booked off the back of that in like Italy and just all these other places, and then obviously got signed to Defected in 2009, which was kind of like my last summer in the West End. But I am West End till I die. You know, going on shot runs and meeting all my best friends in San Antonio. And it was such a big part of my career. And it was amazing to go back actually last summer. I mean, Hush is reopened, but to actually stand outside Hush and be like, oh my God, this is where it all started.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I never forget the first night that I came there. I think the first night I came, I played, but then when I started going to Ibiza and living there for a few summers, Hush was like the place to go for all the workers and to hang out. And I've had so many good times in that place. Like, and when you start playing there more and you kind of know all the crew as well, it was just like, I remember some of the stories. And then I always remember Stephen.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Stephen. And the twins.
The twins.
Whenever I used to play, I think it was like solo phase. So Frankie was the PR.
Yeah.
She used to go to DC10 on a Monday, be there all day, come back and PR absolutely off her face on mushrooms. And she'd have this net and she literally used to like, people be walking past and she'd put it over their heads and just drag them into the bar. It was such an amazing girl gang even back then.
Yeah,
you know?
it was,
and the girls would get up on the fridges dancing. And it was just...
I was in love with those twins.
Oh, the twins. I still see them actually.
Really? How are they?
Amazing. Yeah, they've all got 3 babies.
All got kids now, haven't they?
Right? Yeah. And it's so nice to go back as well and see everyone, like the old crew. The Hush crew was like the best crew.
Do you still speak to Jimmy?
No, I've not spoken to Jimmy in ages. Actually, he did the sound system for a club locally to me, and I played, and it was like, yeah, this sound system bangs. I definitely know Jimmy's put his hand to this.
Yeah, Jimmy's sound systems look great.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing. So then how did the whole Defected thing come across?
So when I had the residency at Hush 6 nights a week, and my one night off was a Tuesday, and Defected was at Pasha on a Tuesday. So I used to go every Tuesday. And going back actually, because I did five seasons, but in the winter, obviously, I moved to London in 2015, and I was working in a record shop called Oatmeal Records in Notting Hill, and Aaron Ross, the A&R of Defected, used to come in and buy vinyl for me. So he was like, I was like, oh, I'm going to Ibiza next summer, you know, to do the season. He was like, come to Defected, I'll get you guest list. So I bump into him and then met Simon, and he was like, you're the girl that's always at the front of the dance floor singing all the words to all the Defected records. I'm like, that's me. Can I have any promos, please? So every week, you know, I'd go and hang out with Erin and bump into Simon, and just kind of got a face, you know, at Defected parties really. And then when they were doing their parties in London, I'd go to all them as well. And Tony Garvey called me into the office, and he was like, how do you feel about being Defected's street team? Street team meaning just me, basically. They created this job for me, and it meant in Ibiza I would service all the DJs with either CDs or vinyls or T-shirts or anything like that. I'd go around all the clubs, from like Amnesia to DC10 to Pasha, and hand out all these CDs. And then I'd go back the next week with my little notepad. What did you think of that record? Or I'd be at a club and I'd hear it playing, so I'd report that back to them. And in 2009, so at the end of that summer, Simon called me into the office. I remember it so vividly. I met him in Oxford Street, and we jumped in a black cab, and we were heading to the office for a meeting. And he was like, how do you feel about being Defected events manager next summer? And I was like, okay. Obviously, I'd run my own parties with Camilla. We were doing La Vita. Never anything on that scale. But I called my dad, and he was like, do it. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And I literally was booking all the flights for the artists. I was kind of artist liaison. So I did all that groundwork. Were
you still doing Hush at this time as well?
I was still doing Hush. Yeah, I was still doing Hush, but not obviously as many nights. And then it got to Ibiza, events manager so I was basically setting up the pre-party at Mambo every week. I was picking up all the DJs. I was also running the Defected show on Ibiza Global Radio. So I'd go and do that before the show, go home quickly, get changed, and go back to Mambo's, do the pre-party, then go to Pasha. I do the warm-up at Pasha, and then look after all the DJs until the lights came on, got them all back to their hotels. Next day, pick them up, take them back to the airport, and I'll be like, I can breathe. And then the next week it all started again, you know. Did that for 5 months.
I don't think people realize, like, when you actually work in Ibiza, there's working and there's working.
Oh my God. And like, I was working.
Yeah. And this is like, even when I was out there, I was working 7 days a week, 18 hours a day. Like,
it's a graft.
You have to.
Graft and hustle. And can you imagine, like, there's hundreds of DJs that turn up on that island every single summer. So you've got so much competition around you. I mean, you're really lucky if you had a residency at the Orange Corner, right?
My first residency was Orange Corner, and then Kenya.
Yeah, Kenya. Yeah, both amazing, like, sunset spots. And if you can get a residency and you come back year after year, like I said, there's just so many DJs that are turning up that might even be better than you, but they haven't got the confidence. They don't have the links, or, you know, like I remember my first summer in Ibiza, I was literally burning off CDs and going up and down the West End, just handing them out to clubs, hoping that you'd get a set. I mean, you'd literally play for booze.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I think I lived off Subways and pop noodles and Lays for like a whole summer, one summer, because I could just about afford my rent, you know, but I just wanted to be in Ibiza. And that's what makes you just keep coming back. But after that summer in 2009, Simon flew me back to play Ministry of Sound. Yeah. And I remember playing Kings of Tomorrow finally, and I got up on the decks, because that was a thing in Ibiza, right? I got up on the decks at Ministry and I was like singing, you know, all the words. I had like 50 of my crew at the front. It was absolutely rocking. And I clocked Simon, and he was stood just by the booth where the bar was, just kind of like smiling and shaking his head. And then on the Monday, I got signed to the Defected roster.
Sick. I love that.
Yeah.
How,
so it was like,
how does that feel when you like put all the effort in, put all the hours in, and then you get to that point where you're like, yeah, you're part of the crew?
It was a very euphoric moment for me, because going back before just starting out as a DJ, I mean, I played hard house for 2 years, right? And then when I started working in Spin Central and kind of had my Defected shrine, you know, I just had one rack just for Defected. And obviously then going to Defected parties in London, and then doing my first season in Ibiza. So, you know, I've been a big fan of Defected records from like since they began, since the first release, you know, Soul Searcher, Can't Get Enough. So to actually be signed to Defected, it was such a big feeling, because coming from Western Supermare, where there was nothing going on in Western, you know, not a lot of people out of Western are really doing great things, not in the nicest possible way. Totally. Like there was a lot of, you know, there's a lot of hardship in Western. You know, my mum still lives on the same council estate, you know, and it's lush going back and seeing everyone again. They're like, oh my God, we're so proud of you. Like someone from Western made it. Yeah. So it really meant probably a lot more to me than it probably any of the other DJs that have kind of been signed to Defected now, because it just coming from nothing, and, you know, coming from, you know, someone who grew up on school, you know, free school meals, and, you know, my mum in and out of hospital with her mental health, and not really going to school. Like I can't really, you know, can't spell, I can't do my times tables or any of those things, you know, not that they matter now, apart from when I'm adding up my checks, bro. But all of those things, like it just meant so much to me, you know, because I felt like I was doing it for everyone else as well. And I feel like I really opened up the doors for so many other female DJs that are now coming through, and I can be their inspiration. And I just want to be such a good role model, not just for females coming through, but for anyone coming through, that you can literally come from nothing and you can achieve amazing things. You know, I get to travel all around the world now. You know, I'm on my 3rd passport where it's been stamped every single page. And it's just like, I never ever dreamed that I could take, you know, DJing this far without really being a producer. I flirt with producing all the time, you know, but I really have made it just for being a really good DJ.
Yeah, there's not many people out there that are just DJs.
Yeah.
And that like are happily not saying that they're not producers, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I think it's really important, because gone are the days now of where you can do that. Really. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
There's not many people that can not release a record to start their career and get booked, and you've done it the whole way.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel like obviously starting a record label and having my radio shows as well have been like such a big part that I've been able to, because I'm literally at the forefront of people every single week. I do my Kiss show, national radio. I do my Defected radio show. Obviously started my record label, Divine Sound. So I'm still can be at the forefront and actually kind of live my life through up and coming DJs and giving them the platform with my record label, being able to support their music on the radio show. You know, when I play anyone's record, I feel like it's mine anyway. You know, I'm like, I just love the record so much, and I champion it. And it's amazing to watch the artists that I've really, really championed, whether it's on radio, through the record label, or just in sets, to then see their progression and their growth. You know, it's been amazing, because I don't have. I just feel like I just want to play music, and I just want to have the best time now, you know. And I'm so blessed and lucky that I can do that. But like I said, I've written a breakup track. I'm really scared to release it, but I mean, I actually wrote the lyrics when I was in LA, and I just picked up a pen and paper, and it was very self-healing, and I can't wait to share it with everyone. But it's more of a passion project more than anything. You know, I don't care about chart positions. I don't care who's playing it. If I love it and I'm playing it, then that's good enough for me. But I really do hope everyone enjoys it as well.
I think that's really important to say, because I think as a producer, when you're trying to become somebody in the industry, we rely on people streaming our records. We rely on chart positions. We rely on playlist positions, etc., etc. You're in a situation where you don't need that. And truly, by releasing, I don't know, I could be wrong, but like, by you releasing music is purely just because you want to release music. You don't have to release music. I have to release music. If I don't release music, eventually people will forget about who Will Clarke is. Where you've built a career purely based on mixing and selecting records and playing fucking banging sets. And I think that's really amazing, because it goes to show it can be done if you're willing to put the work in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, do you think it takes longer?
If you're not putting out music, just starting out, or for me in particular?
Just generally, if somebody was to be like, okay, I want to do what Sam's done. Do you think it's faster if you produce music, or do you think?
Do you know what it is now, Will? Is that everyone's got a manager and an agent now that are coming through, you know? So, I mean, I've seen artists that have been on the scene for 2 seconds, but they've got a really good manager and a really good agent, and they're not particularly releasing very good music. But I see them playing, all right, they might still be in tier 4 on festival lineups, but they're doing it. You know, so I think, you know, we came from an era where you didn't have a manager, you didn't have an agent. Like, all my bookings came in through MySpace. I got my first European booking through MySpace. You know, you have your little page, and you have I think I had like Crew and the Cool's Fish Go Deep as like my track on my page for like years.
Who were your top 5?
Oh my God.
Tom was definitely mine.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but it was so much, like, it really was a graft. I'm not saying that it's not a graft now, because you know, up and coming DJs are working really, really hard, but they've got that support network. They've got that leverage where they're on agencies with bigger artists. Like, okay, well, if you book this artist, then you need to book my artist, you know, where we just come from an era where that didn't happen. So I feel like the journey and the absolute hustle and graft, you know, it's been so authentic, and I wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
Totally.
I really wouldn't have, because I've got so much experience now and so much knowledge. That to me is absolutely priceless. I wouldn't go back and change a single thing. You know,
I was having this conversation with somebody the other day about this, and they were like, would you go back and change it? And I was like, hypothetically, like, what would I have done different? And there was probably lots of things I would have done different, but realistically, it's like, I wouldn't know about those things if I didn't do them.
It's organic.
And I think also the industry's changed so much over and without sounding like an old man and going like it was better back in the day, but it felt like it was more of a community back then, because it was much smaller. Much smaller. And like, it wasn't huge money back in the day. There wasn't that much money in it, if you know what I mean. DJs would just DJ to cover their rent and kind of make a bit of cash. There wasn't many people making a shit ton of money
Yeah.
where it is now, if you know what I mean. If you sat down and 20 years ago in Spin Central said in 20 years you're going to be earning 10, 20, 30 grand a show,
Yeah.
like you wouldn't fucking believe it.
I was playing for my fuel money.
Yeah.
Literally playing for like 80 quid.
Yeah.
You know, and then still not even, if I had 20 quid left over, I'd buy like 4 records.
Yeah.
You know, because it was just like you were doing your dream job and money didn't come into it. And now there's just so much competition, so many egos. Like there was a point at the start of lockdown where I was like, I wasn't even enjoying DJing leading up to that moment.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't even know if I want to be a DJ anymore.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't enjoying my shows. I was exhausted with sometimes you can't help because I don't watch what anyone else is doing. You and I are both in our own lanes.
Yeah.
I think that's what probably makes us unique as well in that way. You know, I'm not trying to be anyone else or copy anyone else, you know, but there was a time where I felt like, why is that person playing that festival and I'm not playing that? And why is that person doing that? And you just become, you lose sight of who you are. Who is Sam Divine? And I just didn't know anymore. Yeah. I was like, but I deserve to be playing on that festival. I've been doing it longer than that person. Yeah. All right, I don't have the Spotify hits.
Yeah.
But my social media numbers by a country mile. And it just I felt like I was kind of getting cheated, if you like. And I was just like, I just don't know how much longer I have the strength to battle these guys anymore. I really, really don't. And then obviously lockdown hit and, you know, I was like, okay, if I'm going to come out of this strong, I really need to get sober. I really need to work on myself and I need to find why I love DJing again. And thank God I did, you know, because I am really loving DJing again. And it actually is going back to nostalgic moments, going through my Slapper Case wallet again, through my CDs. Oh, that's why I fell in love. Got my vinyl from my dad's warehouse in Bristol, set up my decks. I'm almost like in my live stream booth. It looks like a little record shop. It looks like a little Spin Central again. You know, I've got my racks of vinyl behind me and just was going through vinyl again. And I was like, oh yeah, this is why I love music again. And actually having, you know, a sober mind and more of a focused mind. I'm really like, you know, I love traveling again. I actually, when my flight's delayed, I'm like, oh, flight's delayed, annoying, but whatever, there's nothing I can do about it. It's cool. Whereas before I'd be so hungover, I'd be like, how can I get out of doing the next show? I just want to go home. Yeah. You know, the mindset completely changed.
I think also that whole, it changes when you're just fully in it all the time. Yeah. Like I can catch myself doing it now. And it's more so with me in America when we're talking like American shows and things like that, because I'm bigger in America than I am in most other places. It's like, it's a business for me, if you know what I mean. And if we're not getting the lineups or the festival shows, or we're not getting the right fees, it's like, why the fuck are we not getting this? Why? Like, and then the last, like I've been back home on and off for the last like 6 weeks. Played a few shows in Europe, played Berlin, Vienna, and somewhere else, I can't remember. Slovenia. And like the fees are like, honestly, the fees are terrible, if you know what I mean. But I'm going and just loving it because there's zero pressure. There's zero pressure. All I need to do is win the crowd over. Like none of the crowd know who I am. And if 10 people know who I am, then fucking winning. But all I need to do is go and play records that I love, that I know they're going to work in a crowd. And I'm not worrying about ticket sales. I'm not worrying if people show up. And like, it's actually made me realize like how much I love it when I'm not thinking of the business side of it. And it makes me realize I don't care how much I earn on this. Yeah. Like I don't, because I love it so much.
It's a different energy. It's definitely a different energy. and it keeps you super, super grounded as well. You know, like I just started my new brand Cloud9, and it was very challenging putting 9 dates together in the UK, because it's the last time that I actually playing in any clubs in the UK until basically the end of winter. And there was like 2 shows that we didn't sell out, and I'm like stressing. I'm like, oh my God, we haven't sold enough tickets. Like, and then I've got there and I'm like, oh my God, am I a shit DJ? Like, no one wants to come and see me play. And like all this pressure. And then, but the next one we sold out Bristol, big up Bristol. We sold that one out, and it was one of my favorites on the tour. So it's like that all the time. And I have to remind myself, they're not always, every single one is going to be great. You can ask Patrick Topping or Jamie Jones or Hot Since 82 or anyone. Are your shows 10-10 every single time? The answer is probably going to be not. No. You know, and we just put so much pressure on ourselves. And at the end of the day, we are there to just play good music and to rock the crowd. And if you lose sight of that, then you've lost. Then you've completely lost. You know, you just go through it. You know, as I was saying before, look, I was just going through the motions. I wasn't even bothered about what music that I played. I just didn't want to be there. I did not want to be there. And those shows kill your soul.
They do.
Absolutely kill your soul. You know, we are very creative. We're very emotional people, and we put that emotion onto the dance floor, you know, and get that energy back. And when you've got that crowd in the palm of your hands, there's nothing better. And when you haven't got any stresses or anything around you, you know, you come off the decks like, it's like a drug. It's like, wow, the adrenaline, and you just like, it's the most unbelievable feeling in the world. So when you're up there, it's like watching paint dry. You can't wait to get off. And this tour is definitely, I've grown, definitely. I've started, like I said, I started playing liquid drum and bass, dropping hip hop, dropping garage. And it's been a breath of fresh air.
I love
that.
An
absolute breath of fresh air. And I can't wait to get in, you know, back over to the States next week. Can't wait to like get back into festival season with, you know, full capacity. I'm just ready for the summer. And I'm just going to put all this, you know, this energy into everything that I'm doing this summer, you know, and I want all my shows to be 10-10, but if they're not, I'm not going to be hard on myself anymore.
No, I think it's just self-reflection is really important in life generally, but especially for this, when we are the businessman, businesswoman, and also the artist.
Yeah,
because those two just don't. They just don't mix. They
put your hats on.
Yeah, and it just doesn't work. But I guess, how does having a good team help you around generally?
Do you know what? I had a meeting with my accountant and my management a couple of days ago, and they were like, if you carry on spending the way you're spending, you know, because I'm saving for a house, I'm saving, you know, selling this house this summer and getting a new house, and I want to get a new car, and because obviously I'm sober now, so you know, I am a girl racer from back in the day.
What was your car back in the day?
I had a my first ever car was like a mini Metro that my mum got me, and I put 16-inch wheels on it, and I had to hacksaw the bit at the front so that the wheels would turn.
Yeah.
And then I had a Corsa GSI 16 valve with a full body kit on it. I put a $4,000 sound system in it, and literally it was so loud my nose used to like tingle, and I used to like cruise around McDonald's. I was like shotting weed at the time as well. It's like cruising around McDonald's, like playing a hip hop or something. I'm gonna get a new car. The first thing that I'm doing is putting 22-inch rims on it and putting the sound.
Oh my God. Still not changed.
Take the girl out of Western Supermare, Willie. You cannot take the girl out of Western Supermare.
If anybody that doesn't know as well, the McDonald's at Western Supermare was like the cruising. It was like the cruisers where all the cruise kids, all the like tomboys and not tomboys, all the boy racers and girl racers would hang. I think it still is.
It still is, yeah, because I went back to Western a few weeks ago. I'm gutted we didn't get to catch up, actually. But yeah, we used to cruise up and down the seafront and then park up. And yeah, what a time to be alive. Absolutely amazing.
They were the easy days, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh my God, up vaults every Saturday. Oh God, it was amazing. Yeah, good times, man. Good times. I've got nothing but good memories from Western Supermare. But yeah, like I was saying, I had a meeting with my accountant, and they were basically, you know, telling me off for my spending habits. But I actually cried on the call because it's the first time that I've had a team around me that like genuinely care and they genuinely want me to achieve my goals, and everyone's like in my corner and like, you know, my number one kind of cheerleaders. And I got so emotional because I was like, I'm so blessed to have this team around me. You know, I've got a solid team now, like you know, I've just taken on a new intern, Molly, who's amazing, you know, to help out with the day-to-day stuff, and got my management team, my agency, my advancing team, you know, Mills, big up Mills, you know, she's been a huge help on the Cloud9 tour. She's been tour managing me, and we're kind of like salt and pepper, you know, we're stuck to each other's sides throughout, well, for the past 15 years. But it is so important, and it's taken me 20 years to get that team right. You know, they do say, you know, it takes time for everything, and it's so true. And now I just feel like I can really be true to myself as an artist. Finally, I can play the music that I really, really love, and not having to play my get out of jail card records. You know, if you don't like this music, cool. Fuck you off. Don't have to follow me. You don't have to love me, you know. Don't come to the next show, and I'm okay with that. I've made peace with that. You know, I'm not there to impress anyone in the industry anymore, you know. And
well, I don't think you need to. This is the thing. I think you're at the point now where, well, you definitely are at the point where you just have to do you, and if people don't want that, then fine. But there's always going to be people that do, and no matter how many people that is that people do, like, it's great.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I really proud myself that people respect me as an artist. And that's all I said from day one. As long as I'm respected by my peers and, you know, everyone else, is like, that's all I care about is respect. And that is why I've hustled and I've done it the right way. And hopefully people do respect my journey, you know, and I just can't wait for this summer.
What's this whole Cloud9 thing then?
So Cloud9 was born in lockdown. When we did the first ever live stream, Defected at Ministry of Sound, which is amazing how they pulled that together in like 3 days. We were in lockdown. It's like, right, let's do a live stream. And I was in the Ministry booth, and it was very kind of like, what's the word? It was eerie. Yeah. It was really, really eerie, but it was really magical as well. The fact that I played at Ministry, slammed out so many times, and literally to play to no one on the dance floor. And I actually took my Slapper Case CD wallet because I thought, I don't want to play anything new. I just want to play all nostalgic records. And something just lightened in me. And I got off the decks and I was like, got goosebumps thinking about it now. I was like, I feel like I'm on Cloud9 right now. Just something happened in that booth, and it was just, like you said, I had no one to impress. I knew people were watching at home, but it was just me, a dance floor, lighting, and like my favorite dancers actually as well. And all weekend I kept saying, oh my God, I feel like I'm on Cloud9. Like, that was amazing. And Mill said to me, Cloud9 Divine, you got to do something with that. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Anyway, as the time went on throughout lockdown, I was like, yeah, let's do something with this. So I called up my agent. I was like, got a new brand. It's called Cloud9. Can you put me a UK tour together? We'll do 9 dates, and I want people to come away from the Cloud9 events feeling like they're on Cloud9. And Cloud9 was born.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What's the concept behind it, though? Is it just you?
Yeah, it's just me. Yeah. And you know, I've been doing extended sets, playing in all my favorite cities. I've actually had a lot of female DJs as well on the tour, which has been amazing to be able to give them their platform as well. And like I said, being able to play garage, hip hop, drum and bass. Like, my last record is always Hybrid Minds Touch. Like, when I first started playing it, I was like, started playing it in Australia, and I was literally crying, and I had girls crying, and I was like, why am I crying? Like, I'm so emotional. And I just bought that record to the States, and it just went off. I bought that to the UK, and it went off. So it's like literally my closing track. Everyone leaves on a high, and hopefully everyone feels like they're on Cloud9. And it was just something to do outside of Defected, you know, to be able to play, I play a lot of obviously the UK shows with Defected, especially London. This is my first, so the closing party is this weekend on Saturday, and it's the first time that I've ever put my own event on. I mean, it's taken me 20 years, which is just ridiculous. But it's my first show in London on my own.
Still
I've chosen the lineup. It's all female lineup.
Sick.
Yeah, and I'm really excited. You know, we'll put it to bed till next year. It's just something that I own. That's mine. I can create the lineup. I dictate what music's played as well for myself. You know, I can be totally free. Not that I'm saying I'm not free when I play other shows, but I mean, I don't know how well drum and bass record's going to go down at Defected.
Well, you're not attached to anything, right? When you're doing it yourself, you're not attached to a brand that is known for one thing. Defected's known for a genre of music, and kind of just like any night. If you go to drum code night, you know what you're going to get. It's kind of it's on the tin. It's nice being able to play extended sets because we don't get to do it nowadays.
Yeah. Exactly. And I was like, I'm doing an extended set in London. I was going through my records, and I was like, I've got like an 8-hour set for 3 hours. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good to go. And I'm putting out stuff from like 2005, mixing it in with like new records, and we're just going to have a party. And that's what it's about, right? It's about having a party. If you're not making people dance, then you're a shit DJ, period. You know?
I totally agree. It's not, there's so many people I'm sure you've seen over the years where they're extremely famous DJs, and you go and see them play and you're like, what the fuck is this about? Like, come on, mate.
I know, and they're the fuckers that run like 50 bags.
Literally. Literally.
I'll never make that. I will never make that in my lifetime. What is that? Oh my God.
Yeah, I like
each to their own, you know, each to their own. I'm just really, really happy for anyone to make money in this industry.
Right, it's pretty amazing. It is pretty amazing.
Exactly.
How do you find it at the moment with the whole kind of equal women rights not women rights, but like, you know what I'm saying? I know because I know you've been doing it for so long. Yeah. So I know there's going to be a bit of a different side to this story.
I mean, in lockdown, now everyone's a DJ, right? Because it was so easy to get, you know, decks, and everyone's a DJ now. And there's this big thing of, you know, it's not female versus guys. And I feel like there's some movements that are making it that. And it really isn't about that. You get booked if you're a good human being. It doesn't matter, you know, everything else that comes with it. That shouldn't even come into it. You should get booked because you're a good DJ and you're a human being. You know, I get the arguments, but I tend not to get too much involved. Like I champion female DJs till the bitter end, you know, because I have experienced sexism in the industry, you know, but I've got such tough skin. At the time, a situation might have been sexist, but I've just brushed it off. And I'm just like, I'm just doing my thing. So I try not to, I watch it from afar, but I don't tend to get into it too much, you know, because I just really do feel like sometimes the lines are very, very blurred. You get booked because you're good DJ, period.
I think that's changed though.
I think the arguments are making it change. I think that more people are talking about it and more conversations are happening about it. But I mean, it's been very rare that I've had a situation like that. So whether I've just been completely blind to it, whether it just hasn't happened.
Because I think that, I don't know, tell me if you feel I'm wrong, but I think with you it's different because you're just such a staple in the industry. You're not coming up new now. You're not learning how to DJ now. You're not learning to produce now. You've been in it for so long. Yeah. I think now people are getting booked because people just want to be shown to be booking more females. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think if that's the way the industry has to go to get it to level out, then I'm for it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think it's tough. It's really tough.
But also, my argument is that a lot of promoters will book producers. And there's not many female producers.
No.
So that's kind of been my argument and how I've looked at it when this started being a thing. I was looking at it from a promoter's point of view. You get books. I mean, it's different. I get booked from Defected because I'm under, you know, biggest record label in the galaxy.
Yeah.
But I didn't see many female DJs on lineups because they're not producers.
Yeah.
And it was always the way, how many tickets can you sell? So that's why you're getting booked.
Yeah.
So, but I do, you know, I do get it. And if you don't book a female DJ and they could smash it, then how are you going to ever know if you don't book them? You know, but it should also, but I kind of feel like the guys are getting a bit of a rough deal on this as well.
There's no comment from me because whatever I say is not going to be right.
That's why I kind of just pussyfoot around it a little bit. You know.
But I will be honest, and I happily stand by this, is that I just wish people would book good music.
100%.
That's all I give a fuck about. And I really despise it when people are just getting booked because of they're a female or because of the color of their skin. I think there's so much good out there.
There is.
Female and male and trans and black and white and Asian, everything. There's so much good out there. Just do your fucking job as a booker or a promoter or an agent and go and find them.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
Absolutely.
All you have to do.
I'm totally on the same page. I'm totally on the same page. You know, and you know, I've been speaking to a lot of my pals and they're like, you know, it's hard for them to get bookings now because it's got to be, you know, it's just got really cliquey and it just makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, the whole thing. You know?
It just takes it away from what it was, what it's actually about.
Yeah, exactly. And I hope it levels out. And of course, I'm here for it to see more women on lineups because it's been me on my own. Yeah. You know, on most lineups for really
hanging out with the dicks the whole time.
But literally just me in a green room full of geezers, basically.
Yeah, all trying to try it on, literally.
Luckily not, because they respect me. That's where the respect thing comes into it.
Yeah.
Because people are like, you must be cleaning up now. And I'm like, no, actually, I think like guys are scared of me.
Yeah, that I guess that makes sense because you're a strong, independent woman, as they all say nowadays.
Yeah.
Are you still running Divine Sounds?
So the story behind Divine Sounds in lockdown, obviously I was skint because we had no shows and I still had all my bills to pay and a very unhealthy lifestyle and habits to pay for. So Simon basically took the label on in-house. So I still have the overall say of it, but it now has the whole Defected machine behind it. In hindsight, if I went back now, there's no way that I would have sold it. But it's kind of where I was getting so busy with touring coming into lockdown. I felt like I couldn't give it the energy that it deserved. So now it has a whole new team within the Defected, like it's all in the office now. And so, yeah, I still have an overall say on everything, like the look of it and certain records that we're signing. But it just felt right. It felt right, you know. And now obviously that's opened up a door if I want to start another record label with Cloud9 later on down the line. But I'm just throwing myself into touring. Like I really want to break America. Like that is a whole different monster on its own. And I'm so grateful for Little Empire Music. You know, I feel like, you know, they're based in LA and it just felt like completely the right fit for me.
They're the right crew. They're 100% the right crew.
Oh my God, they're amazing. Yeah. They're absolutely amazing. Like they're just so kind to their artists, you know, and I've just not had that before. And all my friends are like, you're going to leave us and go and live in LA. And I'm like, maybe. Do it. But now I'm like, yeah, but I'm in a position where I've got no ties in the UK, you know, I've obviously got my house, but
it's only materialistic.
I'm just going to be free. And do you know what? It's really nice to have that feeling where I can literally, you know, I'm going to go spend a month in Ibiza in September and I've got no one like, you know, ringing up my phone. Where are you? I'm like, fuck you, bro.
Yeah, no, I think there comes a point of that. And going back to the relationship thing, there is always that thing in my mind for me is like, I don't have to think about anyone.
We're going to be single forever, Willie.
Yeah,
we're literally going to be single forever.
It's fucking like, this, no disrespect to my parents, I love them to bits, but even when I come back to the UK, like I have a place next door to them, like that stresses me out because I have to worry about them then, and I don't have to worry about them. Like they're fucking adults. They've survived nearly 60 years without me, not looking after them and not. But it's just that thing that I think I do as a person, and I'm sure you do as well, where you just kind of worry about people around you, and it actually stops. It stopped me. For the last 6 months, I've made excuses not to write music.
Yeah.
And all of those excuses are all external pressures of like coming home, traveling, seeing friends, seeing family, blah, blah, blah. And it's realistically at the end of the day, it's just down to feeling comfortable in your surroundings and with the people around you so that you can be the best part of you in what you're trying to do.
Absolutely. I mean, family first, you know, and there's been times where I'm like, okay, I need to make some records now. Like everyone's telling me I kind of need to make records now. And then I just sit there and I'm just like, I just don't, it's not coming to me. And that's why the Breakup record is such a passion project for me, because it was so authentic. It's so organic. And, you know, the first record that I've actually written myself, and I might not ever make another record like this in my lifetime again, you know, but I'm just really, really proud of that record. But going back to what you were saying, we need more Will Clarke records. They're always a hit in my sets. Always. We need to write a record together, actually.
I know we do.
It's a long time.
We do. But I feel like we need to be in the studio together.
Yeah, 100%.
So when
I'm next down.
Or when you're in America and got some downtime, come and stay in the hood. And
definitely.
And
8
Mile. It's a bit like Western Supermare.
It literally is. Even the cinema's the same. We went to the cinema. What did we go and watch when I stayed at yours?
What did we go and watch?
Was it like... Oh, I can't remember.
I can't remember.
God, our memories are shot.
I don't even drink. I haven't drank for 11 years.
You've got no excuse.
Imagine I did. I've not drank Red Bull in like 5 years as well. Just like, it's ridiculous.
Fun times though. Yeah, it was cool to hang out. And I love that. I love that we got to hang out and in Detroit. And
I love that we can just catch up whenever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm going back to what we were talking about at the beginning, and everyone listening is probably going to be like, oh my God, shut up, you two. But it's like, it's so nice to see. Like, I love it when I see friends do well in this industry, because we all know how hard it is. And like, I was talking to somebody that I write for literally right before, and there was like a few issues, and I'm like, look, I don't want anything. I just want you to be successful. Whatever you need to be successful, I will do. Like, this isn't about me making money. This isn't about, I just want to see you be happy and enjoy the process. And just like, by seeing somebody go full time in music is like the most amazing feeling.
For sure. Well, I saw that for you.
Yeah.
I saw that for you. And it really is. And I'm so grateful that, you know, all these years we've still stayed in contact.
It's the best.
You know, it really is the best.
It's the best. Before we end this, I've started asking this question, and it doesn't have to be music related, but if you could give a person one bit of advice, what would it be?
Be happy. Be happy, because you know what? There's been a lot of times in my life where I've made myself unhappy. And then when you come out the other end, I'm just so calm when I'm happy, you know, and whatever your happiness means whether, you know, you create that with the people around you, or just be happy. It just brings so many good things into your life. Like, since I've had my new teeth, I'm smiling so much more, and everyone's like, oh my God, you look so well. And I'm just like, because I'm happy. Yeah. You know, and it's such a good feeling to finally just have happiness in my life. You know, it's taken me a really, really, really long time to get here. And if it doesn't make me happy, then I just don't do it. Yeah. You know, it just brings so much peace into your life.
I love that. And I think it takes a lot to actually get to that point. I think there's going to be some people listening and it's like, I don't know what makes me happy. I don't know how to get there. But
Yeah.
it's a process, right? And I think as we all get older, it's hopefully something that we learn.
Yeah. Even just looking out of my window and seeing the birds build their nest, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
You know, or
Yeah.
just having a moment with my mom and putting, you know, some Tina Turner on, that makes me happy. I just do things that make me happy now. The smallest of things. You don't even need to spend money to be happy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the smallest of things. I'll go and feed the ducks with my mom and I'll just sit there and see how happy she is. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
You know, it's just all the small things now. Whereas before, you know, cars and clothes and kicks, those things would make me happy. At the end of the day, they're just material things.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you could lose them in an instant. So yeah, just try and do one thing a day that just really puts a nice smile on your face and makes you happy.
Sam, I love you. You're the best.
I love you so much, Willie. I honestly do. I love you so much. I really do.
Thanks for coming on. It's been amazing.
Thank you for having me.
How can people follow you if they're not following you? And if they're not following
on
you,
all the socials.
Yeah.
So Sam Divine DJ on Instagram. I think it's still DJ Miss Divine on SoundCloud, actually. I need to change that. Sam Divine on Twitter and Sam Divine on Facebook as well.
Mate, keep safe. See you soon.
I love you so bloody much. Thank you.
Thank you. And that is a wrap. Love that conversation. Thanks to Sam for coming on. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. Give us some reviews. Do what you need to do. Share it with your friends. Send it to your gran. They might like it. Keep safe. See you next time.